laceration to his head. He had 2 stitches to repair it. Councilwoman James says the fact that he is black, the officer, and the victim is black does not discount racism, blaming the NYPD for what she calls a culture, an institutional culture, which jeopardizes people of color. The family joins her in asking for an independent investigation. The Brooklyn DA's office and NYPD's Internal Affairs is also investigating. Live in Clinton Hill, Nina Pineda, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Our top story this morning, one of New York's finest is killed in a tragic case of friendly fire. The off-duty officer was mistaken for a suspect and shot by a fellow cop. CBS 2's Jay Dow has the latest from East Harlem.
A grim scene earlier this morning as NYPD officers mourn the death of a colleague, Omar Edwards, the apparent victim of friendly fire.
This is a sad night for the city, the NYPD, and all New Yorkers.
For the 25-year-old Housing Bureau officer, a 2-year department veteran, Thursday night shift at the East 124th Street Station House ended like any other. But Commissioner Ray Kelly says that all changed as Officer Edwards walked around the corner toward his personal car parked on 2nd Avenue.
We believe that he saw an individual, later apprehended and identified as Miguel Santiago, rummaging through his car after having smashed the driver's side window to gain entry.
Investigators say they struggled and Santiago got away. Officer Edwards, off duty, in plain clothes and not wearing his bulletproof vest, ran after the perp with his gun drawn, only to be stopped by a patrolling anti-crime team from the 25th Precinct. Commissioner Kelly says the unit then zeroed in on Edwards, not realizing he was actually an officer and not a suspect.
One of the officers, after exiting the vehicle, fired 6 times from his 9mm Glock, striking Officer Edwards twice.
Officer Edwards was hit in the arm and the chest and pronounced dead a short while later at Harlem Hospital. What is still unclear is whether the responding anti-crime unit officer, a 4.5-year department veteran, identified himself as a police officer before firing on his colleague, Officer Edwards, who was black. That leads to another obvious question. Was race a factor in this shooting?
Officer Edwards did not fire his weapon. The shooting officer is white. Officer Edwards is black.
This is me. This highway patrolman pulling my mom's ambulance over because he's mad we didn't pull over, and he's trying to arrest the police, the AEMT, from taking my mother to the hospital. Let's get this all on camera right now. Let me get the car number here. Tag number. On the road, got 5 minutes ago, partner. That's all it is. That's all it is. I'll tell you what they said. They said everybody's ready to get some. Sure. Yeah. Don't call me involved. Okay. Nah, I just got you some evidence. That's all. I got you some evidence. That's all. Over here to help the county out. You understand? Yes, I do. Can you follow us to the graveyard, sir? I'm getting in, Mom. Yeah. Do what your mama says. You were under arrest. You were under arrest. You get in there. Charged from him for assault and counterfeit. Which is a state law. Hey, Mama. Hey, man. It ain't him, it's you right here. This one's trying to figure out right. Now listen to this. I can post it through your wreck. Get the thing to the I'm just in here just my wife, man. Come on.
leg! Take the picture's leg! Take the picture's leg! Take the picture's leg! I don't believe y'all.
The alleged victim, a 14-year-old boy. Now, the video doesn't show what led up to the arrest. All we see is the boy's bloody face moments later. His family says the officers beat him up, pure and simple. The police say the boy resisted arrest and took a swing at them. Erica Hill has more in tonight's Crime and Punishment Report.
Friday morning in Toledo, a neighbor with a cell phone camera records the aftermath of a violent incident between two police officers and a teenager. The video from YouTube shows 14-year-old Trevor Casey, his eyes shut, his face bloody. One officer holds him in a headlock, and then the teen falls to the ground.
Oh my God!
What happened depends on whose version you believe. The family says Casey is the victim of police brutality.
I want them to feel all the pain that they put my brother through. Everything that they did to him, I want them to have to experience all of that.
Then, according to the report, open-handed strikes were applied to the suspect's facial area by both officers. The suspect still would not go down. The officers were able to subdue Casey, who was charged with resisting arrest, obstructing official business, and disorderly conduct. The report goes on to say Casey admitted to the officers he'd been smoking marijuana. In a statement to the Toledo TV station, Casey's brother David claims the officers choked him, punched and kneed him, hit him in the face with a billy club, and repeatedly slammed him into the hood of the police cruiser.
My mother spoke to him in the while he was in the juvenile detention center, and he said he could feel the life coming out of him. You know, just for my little brother to say that, that makes me feel a lot of resentment, you know, a lot of anger.
In a statement to AC 360, Toledo Police Chief Michael Navarre said he couldn't comment on an ongoing investigation, but did acknowledge the department is looking into the incident and that the mother of Trevor Casey filed a formal complaint today alleging excessive force. The police report said the boy was treated at a hospital after the incident and then released and booked by police.